Hi, my name is Steven Tyler, and I'm an expat living in the Philippines. And I want to welcome you to my new channel called Where Else Philippines. It's about my life here as an expat. I've been living here since 2011. I had some interesting experiences, and I'd like to share a few of them with you. For any of you who are thinking of retiring to live in a place outside of your home country. I got here, like I said, in 2011 after making several trips here to visit on vacation, starting from 2005, 2007, and 2010. And after coming here on those trips and spending a few weeks each time and going to different parts of the country, I made the decision after my 2010 trip that this would be the place that I would want to retire. I found that as a country that has English as a second language, it would be easy for me to communicate. The food is nothing so exotic that I can't eat. There are all the amenities of living in a developing country. It's not third world. There are, of course, certain attitudes that have to be adjusted to, as I would call it. But for the most part, living here was fine for me. I came here because I knew that after I was finished with my corporate life, 40 years working in advertising and media, that I would not be able to, one, find another job at my age to do the job that I was doing before, and to make the salary that I was making, and two, that based on what I was going to be able to get from my retirement and from my Social Security and whatever savings I had, I could make a very good life here in the Philippines. So this is one of the reasons why, in addition to the other things I mentioned, why I chose to live here. Now, despite the fact that friends of mine back in the US, where I'm from, cautioned me against moving here, the arguments that they made for making the Philippines as my retirement destination didn't really make a lot of sense. All of the issues in terms of politics and weather and poverty are things that can be found easily in the place that I came from. So to say that, oh, what about hurricanes and typhoons? And I say, well, you have hurricanes and tornadoes in the US. Then, you know, the political climate is kind of hairy. Well, after going through Trump, I would say that that was pretty hairy enough. Healthcare in the US is very expensive. Healthcare here is affordable. I've found that for my needs in terms of healthcare, you get what you pay for, and they will actually try to cure you and help you, as opposed to what I found in the US, where they just give you some prescription to just prolong the ailment that you have without actually making a cure. So I'm here. I found that it doesn't take a lot of money, and it depends upon what it is that you're looking for. I don't think that I'm living rich. I don't think I'm living poorly. I am able to do the things that I want to do. I'm able to get out and travel when I want to. I'm able to make a trip to other countries outside of the Philippines once a year. I'm able to travel around inside the Philippines once or twice a year. And I'm able to go back to the US once a year. So if I can do all of that and still live in a fairly decent home, have the good companionship of a young woman who has been with me now for 6 years, I think I've made a pretty good choice. Do my family miss me? back in the U.S.? Of course they do. But they're grown and they all have their own families to think about and to look after. I do see them when I come back for my visits every year. So I'm just waiting for them to come visit me. But I can't convince them to get on a plane for 18 hours, and that's the only drawback. The food, as I said earlier, it's the same beef, it's the same chicken, it's the same pork, it's the same fish. It's just different ways of making the recipes and preparing. So in the preparation of Filipino food, which I like for some dishes, it's again just a matter of taste. And if I get tired of too much Filipino food, then I do know how to whip up a meal on my own on the stove, so I could do that as well. But there is nothing that probably I haven't tried at least once. There are things that I go back to several times, and there are other dishes that I'll probably never try again. But it's better to have said that I've tried it than to just say I don't like it. There are fast food places. If I want pizza, I can get Domino's. If I want Subway sandwiches, I can get that too. If I want Pizza Hut, they have that here. They have McDonald's, they have Burger King, they have Applebee's. I mean, they have all kinds of franchise fast food places here too. But I try to avoid them. And if I do a fast food joint 2-3 times a month, that's probably a lot. And it's only in an instance where there's other things that I might be doing that call for me to have to eat something quickly, because I just don't feel like making something when I go back home. So I hope you enjoy the channel. I'll be giving you some tips. I'll be showing you how I live and give you something to think about if you are finished with working for a living and want another place to retire to that can be stress-free, if you want it to be, with good companionship, without having to spend a lot of money, but living the lifestyle that you want. There's not going to be foolishness. I'm not going to tell you something that's untrue. I can only give you my opinion, like anybody else. It's up to you to decide. Watch this channel, watch other channels, and if you are at that point where you're ready to give up that rat race and move to a climate that's warm most of the time and hot the rest of the time and wet some of the time, then this is a place to go. And believe it or not, there are some places here in the Philippines where you will need a sweater. So it just haven't seen snow yet, and that's the one thing that I wanted to get away from back in the US. So I'm good here. I hope you enjoy what I have to say and learn something and help you make decisions, and I'll be talking to you again soon. So if you hit like and subscribe to my channel, World Philippines, I'll see you again on the next video. Thank you. Mabuhay.